Alrighty, hello, Food for Thought. Welcome back to the podcast. This is podcast episode 4, Diversionary Tactics Within the U.S. Media. We sorry about not having the live stream like we do. We had a lot of technical difficulties and a whole bunch of other things. But we're looking to start this today. Thank you guys for your comments, your likes, and stuff like that. I know you see me in a new chair. This is courtesy of Joe Freshest's mom. Shout out to Joe Freshest. You should follow him if you like watching video games. Follow Joe Freshest at twitch.tv/Joe Freshest. Nice comfy chair. Comfy to discuss in. So as we transition into today's topic, it's going to be big. So, of course, this week, every social media outlet, every TV channel you turn on to has been looking at the immigration concerns and stuff that are going on at the southern border. The treatment of immigrants, refugees, even the treatment of them. And Hemi's showing you the doc that we've been looking up. We put our links and stuff, so you get to see the back scene of what we do, how we get our information. But I think what we really want to highlight, and as Hemi zooms in, he's showing you a little bit of everything today, because we're going to talk about the U.S. media and things that are going on in the midst of this, in the midst of the immigration crisis, things that are going on. But just know that we're not taking the spotlight from this. We're trying to reveal that things are still going on at the same time as this happens. But, I picked this image of what Melania Trump wore as she went down to talk, I think in Texas, and she went to go talk about, the immigration stuff. And this was the hot topic for everyone. Everyone highlighted it. I really don't care. Do you? And the thing is that at the end of the day, nobody is really caring on any side of the aisle. It's maybe a false sense, in my opinion, of how people are piping it up. People are looking at it, and I'm not taking it away, because the things that are going on there is reminiscent of Nazi Germany. And this is gonna haunt us for a while. But both sides, the GOP and the Democratic, Party and stuff of that nature, they are both the apathetic ones in this, I feel. And there may be a false sense. Hemi, you want to elaborate or talk a little bit?
Yes, I want to start on the immigration thing. It's crazy how we see Trump and his party or they say they want to do a reversal. When I was just looking at the link, and it says this is probably his words too, get the hell out. Because,
get them the hell out of here.
Yeah, get them out, because, of them being immigrants. And it's funny because this country is, it's filled with people from all over the world. So it's kind of hypocritical to say such a thing. But recently I believe I'm guessing it's a sentiment of the heart, because his wife, the first lady, has mentioned to govern with a heart. So I'm guessing that they're starting to see, that maybe that's not a good idea to separate families. Though I know they don't like the fact that people come in illegally. They would rather have them come legal. And, so that, because I guess there's a process there. They don't want, terrorist attacks or whatever it is that they say they don't want. But I don't know, it's just weird. Like, even what's the other guy, Sessions?
Mm-hmm.
He's quoting biblical scriptures, using that, God, he's the person that, has put the government there, so then the people, have to pretty much submit to it, which the Word of God does say to do that. But it's funny how they put it with the with this whole immigration thing. They're trying to how they were tearing families apart, and now they're doing a reversal on it. It's like, what happened? What happened with that? What is that?
Yeah, and twisting around, of course, and we try and stay away from religion on this podcast, but it's because the administration is using it, and it's just crazy, because if we look at it, they're calling it, well, they're breaking the law, they're coming over here, immigrants, stuff of that nature. They basically, we've made it ourselves, and that's traced back as far as 2014, even more. That we've been talking about this immigration issue. It was under Obama that we had this talk, and as Hemi again shows the picture of it, it's gone on. Everyone's apathetic to it, and what everyone fails to realize is that we, as a nation, destabilize Central and Latin America. We've destabilized countries over there and instituted regime change and let people come up, to the point where these people are threatened in their own home, in their own area, places that they've owned. They have to pay to these cartels and stuff of that nature that we've let run rampant. And it's crazy because this has been going on for a while. Don't let the media push you into thinking that this is something new. I know recently, I think it was the other day, that they started to issue a lawsuit against the facilities in Texas that were housing some of the children because they've been separated from their families. They were giving them drugs, like psychopsychotic drugs, antidepressants, all these things to make them quiet. So they don't say anything, they don't show any emotion. And you could probably even see in the pictures too how they're just like laying on the ground or sleepy and stuff. Stuff makes them sleep. And even tranquilizers. Not tranquilizers when you think of a horse tranquilizer, but tranquilizer as in pills that do like what we're suggesting, like for tranquilization. And it's crazy that they're doing this, but this is traced back as far as 2014, right? So they even increased federal spending. When it comes to this, they've increased federal spending even under the Obama administration. And looking at it, it's just crazy when we think about it, the things that are going on. And of course, with the human rights violations, we left the UN Human Rights Council. And I think that's interesting because now we've dealt with North Korea, and now they've been considered like the biggest offenders of the human rights and stuff like that. And now we're buddy with them, and people could even draw some other conclusions now, right? So it's crazy, and we talked about that on our last podcast number 3, where we talked about North Korea. You should watch it, but it really highlights that. It highlights that that kind of that thing that we're right now, we're going into negotiations with North Korea. We withdraw from the UN Human Rights Council. We're withdrawing and doing stuff, and then we ourselves are having a crisis here, a refugee crisis. And because I wouldn't say immigrants, because we ourselves are causing them to come over. So we're causing people to become refugees, and we're separating them. Now I know Trump repealed what was going on, but then again, you get into a lot of legal mumbo jumbo because it specifically states that there's not like a set time for them to start, set time for this and that. And it's crazy because when you get down to it, a lot of legal things are going on. It's crazy. But I want to kind of take the focus back because there are things going on at the same time, right? So we have the crisis going on at the southern border. But these are things that are going on right now that the media doesn't highlight. This is Flint. Flint is one that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Puerto Rico and everything else, but and the space fleet. Keep saying Space Force. Yeah.
Get that.
And we're going to talk about that, and then we'll dabble a little bit later into some other things. But what I really want to focus on now and turn our attention to is the continuing crisis of Flint, Michigan. Their water still looks like that. They still can't even drink their tap water. It's ridiculous. People have said they've changed colors and stuff. Hemi, you want to talk a little bit about it?
Oh man, yeah. It's just it goes from like the lead because of the corrosive pipes. The fish, they mentioned something about fish juice too in the video that we have also to show you guys. That would really explain a lot of it and show you a lot. But yeah, these it's crazy. There's a doctor in this well, not in the video we have, but in the video I watched, and yeah, it's just crazy how she's caring for these kids. The kids are going to be the future generations that are coming, but they're being poisoned. Not only the people that are older, but also the kids are being doubled, tripled the amount of the toxic stuff that's not supposed to be in your body and flowing through your body. That water, the people that are in charge of this, they're just like brushing it off, like I don't know, it's like maybe they have a secret source of water that's all good and Gucci, but they give the people that pay for this water to try to be better, or to at least take showers without changing colors and then drink it without having to get sick or have toxins in your body or things that are just not supposed to be in your body. People are paying for this, not just with money, but also with their lives, their health, and whatnot. But one of the videos that I saw, that the people from the community, they were complaining about it. They were saying a bunch of stuff, the traits of the water. One lady, it's crazy. She was saying that it's the water smelled like it was coming out of someone's butt.
Yeah, and it's crazy, like. It is really going crazy over there. Like, the way that people are being treated. They can't even have their own water, and this has been going on for about 4 years. Like, I think they've been bringing in bottled water for other portions of the country. I think they've tried to switch the water or whatever, I don't know. And it's a big problem going on over there. And it's going on right now. As the crisis at the southern border is going on, this is going on. And we don't even know, like, we may think, oh, it's probably already been solved. It hasn't. It hasn't gotten the media coverage it should have. And we're looking at it being put on the back burner. And if we look back, if we look forward on this, and let's say we're in the future and we look at this is going to be a point where we can see the American people have been failed, right? So we're failing, immigrants coming in. Not treating them properly when we ourselves caused them to be in this situation in most scenarios. And we're not even talking about what's going on with Flint, how we're treating our own citizens. If we're not treating our own citizens right, we're not going to treat people that come in as immigrants right. Yeah. It's all about how we take care of our people first. And if we're not taking care of them, it's crazy. And I think there's even a docu-series on Netflix where it talks about the police tension with over there in Flint because of the disenfranchisement with the government, various things. It's crazy, and you should watch it on Netflix. And this is something that's going on right now, and we can complain about our water right here. I know my own local tap water doesn't taste right; it tastes weird. And Hemi, you want to elaborate? You have a filtration system on your house.
Oh yes. It belongs to my brother-in-law. He got this extra system that you'd put into the main water, and even here, after a certain amount of time, when he takes out the filter. Brand spanking new filter in the system. It looks like a rusty pipe, a rusty thick pipe, and that's here. I can imagine what's happening in Flint, and not just in Flint, but in other places in other countries around the world, where people have to bathe in. Well, I'm not sure if they do, but this garbage in the water and oil spills and whatever else it might be in there.
And we complain about that.
Yeah.
But our water is still drinkable. It's not preferred, but it's drinkable. And we look at it, these people are still getting charged. These citizens are still getting a water bill saying you owe thousands of dollars.
Crazy.
And these people are saying, I'm not paying it. Would you even pay it yourselves at that point the water you're getting, you can't even drink it, can't even shower in. Because we live in South Florida, it's like living in a constant hurricane mode where you would have to get bottled water. Water is a big commodity. I'm pretty sure the black market thrives over there with water. That's how bad it is. And and you think about it, and being in South Florida, that's something that happens during hurricane time, but they're in that 24/7, for the better part of 4 years, just about, maybe even less, maybe a little more, not by much, but they're going through it for an extended period of time, and it's ridiculous. And I think, Kim, you want to maybe put the video on now?
Oh, yes. Let me go ahead and show you that video real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this.
The city of Flint, Michigan is currently in a public health emergency because of unsafe drinking water. In an effort to save money, the city moved from Detroit water to Flint River as their source water, which is very corrosive and was causing high levels of lead, a dangerous neurotoxin, to come off from OLED pipes and plumbing fixtures into their tap water. Already struggling with crime, poverty, and poor nutrition, 100,000 unsuspecting residents of Flint were exposed to this dangerous water for 17 months, and we now know that many children were in fact lead poisoned. 4-year-old Gavin was one of them. Concerned mothers and citizen groups reached out to us at Virginia Tech, and we felt we had to get involved. And so, the Flint Water Study Team, a group of young environmental engineering researchers and students led by Professor Mark Edwards, was born. Backed by a rapid response grant from the National Science Foundation, we collaborated with Flint residents towards sampling over 270 homes via citizen science, where homeowners themselves sampled their water and sent them back for analysis. We undertook sampling trips to Flint to conduct extensive water testing in homes, businesses, and hospitals for lead and pathogens, and performed experiments to scientifically demonstrate how Flint River water was severely damaging Flint's old water infrastructure and increasing lead and harmful microbes in the water. At a later stage, we even worked with elementary school kids in Michigan who did similar experiments demonstrating the reproducibility of this research. We practiced open science and communicated our results, and do not drink advisories on flintwaterstudy.org, engaged with the public on social media, and even started fundraising for lead filters. Soon after, Flint pediatrician Dr. Mona Hanna-Tisha found that blood lead levels in Flint kids had actually doubled after the water switch. This was horrifying. State agencies, however, kept insisting that the water was safe to drink and even tried to discredit our research. Despite this, we stood shoulder to shoulder with Flint parents, activists, doctors, journalists, and politicians, raising our voices and pushing science forward for the health and future of Flint families. And then, a miracle happened.
The city of Flint should be reconnected to the Detroit system within approximately 2 weeks. Work on that has already started. A switch back to Detroit is the fastest way to protect public health.
This is a heartbreaking story, but it's also one of hope. It demonstrates how environmental engineers can actually make a difference, and why the world needs more of them.
I think the most important thing is to not forget your dreams, to not forget the reasons that environmental engineering was appealing to you for all the altruistic reasons, including trying to save the world, help people, serve mankind. Don't forget that, because that's ultimately what I think we're judged by.
Environmental engineers are stewards of the planet and its people, and we have a moral obligation to serve society and do the right thing. We love chemistry and microbiology and computers and pizza and dancing and Harry Potter. We're just like you. With our work and research, we can help people lead better lives, protect the environment, collectively address major challenges we face as a species. And like Bill Nye the Science Guy likes to remind us, change the world. And isn't that the whole point of living?
Alrighty, yeah, we just watched a video with you guys, and it's crazy, and congratulations to the Virginia Tech team on highlighting the errors and stuff and things in the water that are going on, and it's still going on, and they're still making an effort, because the video that we just saw published recently had the doctor that was it from Flint, Michigan. That they were talking to, the pediatrician, and she's still in the video. And this is something that is still going on right now. Switching gears from that, we're going to look at the next topic, because, we reminded you that Flint is in a constant state like a hurricane mode. Well, the 2017 hurricane season was devastating, if not catastrophic. Hurricanes Maria and Irma slammed Puerto Rico, and they were strong hurricanes. Nothing to play with, to say the least. Puerto Rico was devastated. The infrastructure was devastated. Even some of the other islands were completely uninhabitable afterwards. But Puerto Rico has a connection to the United States. And you would think 6 months later, that it would be fixed. No. And now we're going into the next hurricane season, and it's still not fixed. The problems are still there. It's crazy, because if you look at it, they're having problems with basic needs. Their electricity is going out still. I watched a documentary, and it was crazy, some of the things that are still going on. They still haven't repaired the entire, island's infrastructure yet. People are still, without power, and the power, if it does come on for those that have power, it doesn't stay on. And this is for people who can't even who are still having problems getting medicine. I was looking at a person with asthma, and he needs to take the inhaler, but the medicine's not really there. Even certain supplies and stuff for the island is not there. And it's crazy that this is still going on, right? Again, not taking away from the crisis at the southern border, or even Flint now. Now we're going on to another problem that's still going on at the same time, right? So we're looking at this, and we're just seeing people still, they're not being helped, and it all stems from the fact of something called the Jones Act, which deals with water, shipping and stuff in the water lanes. It's crazy that we don't even know this law, and it was instituted in the 1914, something around there.
1918 maybe.
1918.
I think that date, yeah.
Yeah, the 19 teens. And it was instituted then, and then you have a big problem, because now that's hurting them. And they're like, well, we're not getting help and we're not receiving anything. Him, you want to speak on it a little bit?
Just to add to that, it's not just, this hurricane that just happened last year, because, we actually got slapped by it as well. The southern part of the United States, South Florida especially, whole Florida for most part, and even other countries in the Caribbean as well. But Puerto Rico really got it. For that act that he was talking about in 1918, It's crazy because it even goes before that. Like these people, their resources have just been like they've just been like the U.S. has been using these people. Yeah, Puerto Rico, which means rich port. There's a reason why it's a rich port, because there's a lot of rich resources, or maybe there were even more resources than there is today. But these people, they mill these people, they milk them, if you want to even add that, and it's just crazy. Like it's crazy to see that, because like the president, when he went to the to supposedly relief or give relief to Puerto Rico, the guy was throwing around paper towels, and he was shooting them like he was playing basketball with it. It was like, one for you, one for you, one for you. And you can see that. You can type in Trump tosses paper towel, or Trump 2K, or something like that.
Yeah.
You will see such things.
Yeah, and the people are fed up. The documentary that I looked at, it was going and it talked to people. Small businesses were hurt severely by this in Puerto Rico, and they're struggling their way. They're being resilient in any way that they can, and it's crazy because Puerto Rico is still dealing with this, and they still don't even have proper lines of communication going on the island. This is hurting them even more, because even before the hurricane, a couple years back, they had a big economic crisis, and this only compounds the economic crisis that is going on there. The people there, they're just fed up. Puerto Rico has no voice within the Congress, or even in the say of the president, because they can't vote and stuff like that. They're just our territory, and it's like we own them, and they're just there for us, and it's ridiculous, right? So they're looking at it, and I know there was there was a national sentiment that rose in around the 50s and 60s and even in the 70s. And now that is coming back on the island. The recent events with the hurricane is coming back in full force, so that they want to be separate from the U.S. They don't want to even be associated with us. They want to be their own socialist nation. And at the end of the day, we're only making it worse. We've been there, and again, as Hemi was saying, we've been plundering Puerto Rico. We've been there basically, and I know because I have a friend who's Puerto Rican. He's half Puerto Rican, half Cuban, and this topic touches him dearly, and he's so passionate about it. And I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, these people are being taken advantage of and being used. And it's ridiculous that these people, and I know if Bobby heard this, he would agree with me, that the Wall Street fat cats came in around the 80s and 70s, and I think that really helped out Puerto Rico economically. But as they passed a law in 1996, I don't remember the exact details, because I think they were maybe using Puerto Rico as a tax haven or something of that nature. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but they basically, as soon as they passed the law in 1996, they left Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico's been trying to climb back ever since, but of course, in 2008, our economic recession happened, and that crippled their economy then. They're still dealing with it worse even now. And, the hurricane adds to it. It's like a list, adding and piling it on. And this is still happening now. And people, they're trying to cut funding. We've been hearing that cutting funding from Trump, as you would say, or even our, past presidents, they're cutting funding. Obama would say that, and Bush, cutting funding where it's not needed. But in instances in Puerto Rico, they're cutting funding where it is needed. So, again, as I was saying earlier, the chain of command, it's being ignored. This elementary school, was notified via Twitter that it's closing down. And You can't send your kids there anymore. They're closing them down via Twitter. And that's like, us going on Facebook today and they're saying that, our local store is closing down. And that's how the manager and all that in the store knew. They weren't told anything. They're only told via social media. And it's crazy that we're not even caring for these people. And that's going on right now. Still going on. And then the media plays with us, as I want to transition the topic again. The media plays with us and tries to divert our attention in any, little way, shape, or form. The Department of the Space Force, right? So, this is a big one. This is a big topic. I want to talk about this, Space Force fleet type thing. And I'm gonna be real with you. I'm a big sci-fi fan, and I love Star Trek. You may have caught it just when we were switching through the dock, but I say that this is the Terran Empire, because I don't think we're in a United Federation of Planets type of mode. But this is Trump's way of weaponizing space. The UN met, what is it? I think it was in 2017, and surprisingly it was spearheaded by Russia and China, who said they want to leave space unweaponized. They don't want to, bring weapons into space and use it as sort of like a militaristic type thing, more of like a science-based exploration type of a mission. And right off the bat, the U.S. and Israel reject the UN proposal. They feel that we can do whatever we want, and regardless, this has even gone deeper. This is deeper than just Trump, because during the Obama administration, we were making all these specific spacecraft and stuff like that, and they're just, projects, hypotheticals, classified information starts coming up a lot. It's classified. But they're saying now that, may sound like a conspiracy theory, but there's a craft orbiting the Earth and has been orbiting for at least 2 years, gathering data of how it'll perform, with an unmanned crew in it or stuff like that. And this is going on now too. It's been going on for about a year. I think they've been trying to gear up for a space force sort of thing that they're trying to use specifically, I believe, the Air Force as the biggest branch going into the Space Force. And stuff of that nature. I don't know the details of it, if they're leaving the Marines and stuff out, I don't know. But then you start getting into budget spending, because I believe recently they released an $800 billion spending budget, which we've been spending a lot in this. You really want to do budget cuts and cut funding, you need to stop researching all these weapons, because we're going in a hole with all this research. Amy, you want to add some stuff onto the topic?
Yeah, the military, the weapons, like you're saying, the F-22 Raptor, oh my gosh, it's a beast of an airplane. It's crazy what that thing can do. They have, I think, it's this month, I think, it's not even that old. But that jet, that fighter itself, whatever you want to call it, that it's crazy. It's more than $20 million, if I'm not mistaken, just for that one aircraft. And then also with the, I'm thinking this is this week, they unveiled, or was it today? They unveiled this rail gun that looks like something off of these science fiction games that we played 10 years ago, and have played throughout the years, and probably will continue to play. But we see these things, these sci-fi like things, just coming to be, and then I think of okay, well, the U.S. and Israel, they reject the United Nations by saying, we might want to weaponize that. We might want to make a hammer of dawn, call it the hand of God, or call it, whatever it is you want to call it. And we've seen this time from time, like in video games and also in some type of, sci-fi movies and sci-fi shows. That I can imagine, and it's gonna have even more control and be more devastating if it gets to grow to that. That's an if factor. I'm not saying it is, but I'm pretty sure these people, and there was a lot of people that were very happy. If you saw Trump in that meeting, he was surrounded by the peoples that really liked that idea or wanted. I think it was like 20-year delay they had, 25 years. They were waiting for it, and then when Trump was talking about it and when he signed it, everybody was like, yes, I can't wait.
Yeah,
Crazy.
It's crazy, and I'm gonna break it down. This is gonna be a science fiction moment, right? I love Star Trek, but I don't think we're going for a Star Trek type future, right? As far as technology goes, the way the government is going, I think we're more in for a Halo, the video game, type of science fiction future. Utopian society, dystopian, all this sort of thing is brought around. But I think that we're looking at it, we're going to be looking at a Halo type of advancement into space, if you will. And that one, like, if you've read the books for Halo, you will know that it is rich and deep, and it's just crazy. The railgun things off of Halo, and Hemi brought it up that these are things that we've seen 10 years ago. And when you look, science fiction is such a big predictor of where we're going next. I remember being in a class at Broward College. I had a professor by the name of Rivera, Professor Rivera Hippolito, and was it not Mechasol, but Titanfall had just came out, and he's like, these things they're showing you these things, but you're gonna probably see them in the future. People like putting things out in games and movies that they're ideas and concepts, and they want to see how maybe we're reacting to it or how it's gonna perform and stuff like that. And even Star Trek predicting things, you could even look at that. But this is happening, this is going on now. This is a diversion that people are trying, they want to take the emphasis off of the southern border, and they want to show you space. Come, let's go. With the military. We're having a military might in space. And they're trying to take it off of that. And that's just scary. When the media starts trying to take away what's highlighted, and people are still talking about it. And I think Space Force was small, but it's something big that people are still talking about, because of course, science fiction fans, they'll start talking about this as well. And it's crazy. And when I go and do the research, when Emmy probably even sees it too, is that when I go and do the research and I try and listen to maybe CNN or Fox News, it just feels like they're not attacking each other intellectually. It's almost like a name-calling bid. And when it doesn't fit the agenda of one of the whoever side they're affiliated with, it's automatically against everything, and it's this and that and the other person, and then it just leads into something I've never seen before. I can't imagine. I don't know how it was back in the day, but seeing it now, it's like you don't even want to watch the news because everyone has their own person that's in their pocket. And this is where we're going to start to wrap it up. Just seeing how the media does this. We're looking at the crisis at the southern border, but at the end of the day, there's still things going on that if it's not the flavor of the week, the taste of the month, if you will, we're not going to talk about it. We're open 24 hours, but we're only going to show you what we want to show you. Because in some instances, these are 24-hour news networks that you're watching, that both of them are propaganda laced. Fox News is a lie. CNN is a lie. You yourself have to try and find the information and filter it. no news source is trustworthy. It's biased. That's my opinion of it, because if I look at it, at the end of the day, that's just my opinion. You can have your own. I'm entitled to mine, but I just feel that it's scary when we have to search so deep for information, or try and see if we can extrapolate, almost like conspiracy theorists trying to look at our own news of something that's going on. And we need to look deeper, and it's just going into society today. We don't want to look deeper. We want to just see the surface. Oh, that's that. Oh, if it's going on, it's not happening to me. Okay, I don't care about anybody else. And it's scary. We can talk and do this stuff, and I'm not bashing either side, Republican or Democrat or anybody, but I'm just saying, we need to look at it at ourselves and at our heart, because at the end of the day, we live in a country where we can do these things. People are immigrating to this country because if they're doing a podcast like this in their own country, maybe the door will get busted down and people will point guns at them for trying to talk like this. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned before, just the lack of empathy with the Flint water crisis. And also, just to mention a previous topic touching Venezuela and the revolution in Nicaragua, and the immigration thing, how it's being handled, and how there's such a sudden change of heart, this and that, but for who knows what reason exactly. I just feel like people, like Zach was saying, the heart of people, like, the truth will come out and it will defile them, especially if it's not of a good thing. Like, if people have in their hearts not to care about anybody but themselves, these things will only multiply. And I say this too in these times. The World Cup, that's a big thing going on now, and I'm not knocking that either. It's exciting, I'm pretty sure, and people see it as a way of uniting and and of like putting aside what's really happening in reality or in the world. Or maybe as they do it, they sort of still show some kind of support to it. But when I see it, I just see a bunch of people that are coming to watch a sport, or it could be anything else if it was something else. But like they're getting together for these events while there's actual real events going on, people in need, in dire need, starving, getting shot or killed, or whatnot. And another thing I hear too is people like, well, we're just 1, 2, 3, 100, 500 people, what can we do? Well, I'm pretty sure if everybody was to get on the same page and on the same memo, we could probably do a lot. But as I said, in the lack of empathy, the lack of having a real heart, not just to gain some kind of advantage or to compromise or to take, I don't know, it's crazy how the people, with all these crises happening, how people respond. And to me, I'm not trying to get biblical here, but it kind of shows at the end of the days how people would be. There's scripture on that, if you're interested in the Holy Bible.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's just the way these people are. If their heart, you have to even look at their intentions, because it could be a facade. If it doesn't fit their agenda of what they want done, it's not used. But if it fits their agenda, and it's something that they want used, it's good. It's a go. It's a green light. And I'm appalled by some of the sentiments by people feel with the immigration. I just think because I'm Jewish myself, and I know nobody wanted to get Jewish immigrants in. The only one that really wanted to at the Evian Conference of 1938 was the Dominican Republic, but that came with a price. If they took immigrants, they wanted money. And it's funny because we're a nation of immigrants. We're living on Native American land right now. this was their home. We came in and took it. And it's scary because I'm saying it's Republican and Democrat. It's deeper than that. It goes deeper. Those are charades that are being played even in of themselves. You know, the stuff with us, you know, doing the military space mine. You know, looking at it, you know, we've been trying to do stuff with, you consider Star Wars, that with Ronald Reagan. He's trying to build missile satellites, laser satellites into space to shoot down missiles. Could that have been just his only intention? You look at even, you know, with the crisis going on with Puerto Rico and Flint, then they're not getting the same media coverage as, let's say, you know, all these other ones. Venezuela, we've done a topic on Venezuela, you know. If it doesn't fit their flavor, if it isn't the right savory scent that they want, it's not going to be used. And I think this is where we're about to wrap up and draw to a close. You know, thanks for watching. If you like it, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. This is Food for Thought Unchained, podcast number 4. Don't be chained by the mind society tries to give you. See y'all on the next one.